The Elgin Police Department is dedicated to working in partnership with the community to promote safety and enhance the quality of life by serving with professionalism, encouraging open communication, and embracing diversity.
Engaged.
Partnering with our citizens and involved in our community.
Progressive.
Embracing innovative strategies while maintaining proven practices.
Dedicated.
Serving with integrity and professionalism. Elgin became an incorporated city in 1854 and installed its first police marshal, George W. Renwick. Over the years, the title of the head law enforcement officer changed from marshal to chief. And although the role has expanded, one duty has remained consistent: to ensure law and order for the citizens of Elgin.
It's time now for Fridays with the Finest, featuring Elgin's current police chief, Anna Lally, on Elgin's hometown radio station since 1949, WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Hey, and good morning. Welcome to another session of Fridays with the Finest. So we have Chief Anna Lally and Commander Mike Martino here with us today. So say hi to everybody.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
There you are.
Good morning.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Couldn't be better. Nice,
Yeah.
nice crisp
A
morning.
little brisk. Yeah, we walked
brisk.
over here. It's a
Pretty
little
nice.
wake you up if you weren't up. We are up now. So, happy Friday, everyone. And I'm here today joined with the newest commander, Mike Martino. He has been on the show with me several times. He was recently promoted from lieutenant to commander. At one point, he was our PIO, our public information officer. He was the administrative sergeant working directly with me. Then he's been was a lieutenant for about a year, not even a year, and then promoted to commander. So I asked him to come on this morning so that, the community gets to know Mike, gets to see him. Obviously, the role of a commander in the police department, in the Elgin Police Department, it's really, it is one of the most important positions. So the chief, me, and the deputy chief, Adam Schusler, our focus is, more global. We're in the community, working with the city manager's office. Adam is more, overseeing some of the more serious things in the department. Our budget, our internal affairs. He is me when I am not there, and then the commanders really run kind of the day-to-day operations within the department. So, it's a very important position. And when you get into that position too, it's especially, and Mike will talk about his career here and stuff, but the responsibility, it's a lot. So, Mike is, obviously choosing a commander for me is very important. I've chosen several commanders throughout my time as police chief, and some have gone on to become police chiefs, some retire. And so, the characteristics of people that I look for, because, everybody's always learning. No one knows everything, including myself. We do get experience, though. The more time that you do things, you do get experience. And so, it's a responsibility of me and Deputy Chief Adam Schusler to pass that on to people. But you have to start with some good substance of a person. So, someone that, is open to learning, that has can show their humility in times of, maybe hard decisions or hard things, or, can look at things and say, I could have done a better job, and truly wants to make the department and the community better. Just good people. And so clearly I chose him because that is what I believe with Mike. And, so I asked him to come on so that the community gets to know him, gets to see him. This is the future leadership of the department. He's going to be here for a little bit of time. So, and I've said many times here, especially when I start getting towards the end of my career, it is very important to me that I leave a department that people know who's running the department. And it takes time to trust people. It takes time to develop those relationships. So, so that's why we're here. We're going to talk everything, Mike, but I want to also mention tomorrow morning from 10 to 12 at the Elgin Police Department is our open house, our winter open house. Please stop by, and there it is, EPD's annual winter open house. Santa will be there, SWAT rides, bat rides, crafts, coffee, everything. It's really our opportunity to spread some holiday cheer, for us to open up our home to the community, which is also their home. And come on down. It's a couple hours. Maybe come and see the tree. I know that the Christmas tree, the lighting, got canceled because of the snow.
Yeah, way too much.
So, But if you're down here, grab some coffee with your family and grab maybe some lunch and see the tree and kind of make a day of it. So we are excited to see you. This is our last event of the year, and then we kind of are a little bit on pause, and I've mentioned it before. Now we really start and have been working on our annual report, end of year things. It's kind of it's a lot, so our, community engagement, we're still at certain things here and there, but we kind of slow down January, February, March, just in terms of, what we're doing externally. But our next kind of community thing that we kick off will be in usually the end of January with our business chats. And, but for this kind of holiday season here, we kind of slow it down. The officers do take some time. We do have a lot of officers around this around this time take off to spend time with their families, because they too are human. So
They deserve it.
they do. I also want to say congratulations to now retired Lieutenant Jim Rocher. I swore in 5 new officers on Wednesday. So, Elgin Police Department, here comes these are people that you will see in the police department for the next 30 years. And Lieutenant Rocher had 30 years as a police officer. So I want to publicly say thank you to him for his service and his time at the department. Those are our new officers there. I realize I'm very short. Somebody sent me a text message and said, and I can't, and I don't feel short, but then when I stand next, but those guys are tall. Like, see, I always like to say, like, they're 6 feet tall. The officer next to me, the female officer, she's a little bit taller than me, but I
little
realize, but I'm just like, man, am I that short? So I don't know. I asked my husband the other day, I'm like, Jim, have I always been this short? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, what? I don't know. I think I'm standing next to too many tall people recently. Because
You've been losing weight too, and that makes you
maybe
look a
that's
little-
what it is.
little
I
shorter,
don't know.
too.
I guess I don't know what it is, but nonetheless. So congratulations to all the officers and to now retired Lieutenant Jim Rocher. So life moves on, right? On to the next, and here we are today with now Commander Mike Martino. So Mike, do you want to tell us the listeners everything about Mike, what you do, who you are?
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
So I got hired in 2006, spent maybe 2-3 years on patrol, was a senior patrolman for the unit for special assignment, kind of attack group that we had for a period of time. And then I spent the majority of my career, the next 10 years, in an investigative role between our special investigations group and our major investigations division. So it's kind of been a passion of mine. Went to nights for a little bit when I got promoted to sergeant in 2021. Spent a year on night shift, and then got the opportunity. The chief gave me the opportunity to come upstairs, be the administrative sergeant. So learned a ton. Was there for almost 3 years, and the public information officer. So dealing with the community and the media, and understanding kind of the bigger role of the police department in the community and what the expectations are. Was learned a ton during that time period. Also was accreditation manager during that time period. So learned a ton about, the intricacies, the policies, why we do the things that we do, the importance of them. So learned a ton, was a great opportunity, and really set me up to be able to get promoted to lieutenant.
Right.
And then obviously where I'm at today as a commander. I spent about a year earlier this year, got promoted to lieutenant.
Analytics are important, and again, it preps you for what you're doing now.
Oh, absolutely.
Because in the commander's role, you're just the right hand to the chief.
Yep.
Even though you have your deputy chief,
Yeah.
and you have certain divisions you head up.
Yeah.
What better way than knowing the flow of what's happening?
Yes.
And
What
be
I
able
really
to
loved
share
was
that.
the opportunity to I wanted to know as much as I could about everything
Yeah.
that the police department
Well-rounded,
had.
very
Everything, right?
important.
Like that's the most important piece because, yeah, right now I'm the commander of investigations, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't know exactly what's going on or everything that's going on all over the police department. Because anybody, if an officer comes up to me or other supervisors, like it's important to me that I know exactly what's going on, so I have the answers. And if I don't, then I can find the answers for them. So, I take that it's important to me. So, the opportunity that I had from the chief was, it was huge for me, huge for my career. I'm very appreciative of it. And I understand the expectation that she has for me, giving me those opportunities over the last couple of years, right? The expectations are high, and I understand that, and I kind of look forward to kind of growing in this role for the next, well, I'll still be here for another 5 or 10 years, so I'll be around.
Well, it postured you into the position you are because you have to take step. I would think if you want to be rounded like you're speaking of, you have to. You know, you started out patrol, and then you head of patrol, and then you went to be a sergeant, sergeant, lieutenant, and then even that PIO was a great opportunity because you got to realize how to deal with other facets of people,
Oh yeah,
not just officers. You have to deal with the public.
oh yeah.
So it's a nice blend. And then you realize that, boom,
Yep.
now you're commander.
Yeah, everything
It didn't just
everything
happen by itself.
Yeah, I agree. Everything that built up to this point was purposeful, I believe.
Right.
Like in both probably the Chiefs end and my end to learn
But
as
you
much
earned
as
it.
I
You
could.
went up through the steps and through the ranks.
Yeah, you know, I
That's
worked
great.
hard and I was here, and you know, part of it is you have to accept these expectations and accept these roles in the police department. And I think when you have the abilities to do that, that it's kind of something that you have to step up to do. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to do that for the community. I wanted to do that for the officers at the police department. And like I said, it's I take it very seriously, and I look forward to it.
You get a chance. I mean, dumb question maybe, but when you become administration, you're bogged down with so much. You ever get a chance to just hop in the car with one of the sergeants or patrolmen and just look and see what's going on? Does
Well,
that happen at all
there's
anymore?
definitely things, and there may be incidents that happen around town where some of the higher level incidents or things that need a command staff touch to them, I guess,
Sure.
to make sure that everything is going the way it needs to be going. I have great supervisors under me, but yeah, there's times where we go out there, whether it's a command post, just to make sure that the information is getting relayed the way it needs to be relayed.
I was more getting to like missing the street. You ever? I know investigations was always your thing.
Yeah.
And how cool you get to be the commander
Yeah.
of investigations.
Yeah.
But you ever just miss just being out in the car? And,
Yeah, I mean, there was something to be said about, hopping from call to call
Sure.
and doing all those things. And we have a ton of great new officers who do a great job doing that. And,
Beautiful.
I've passed that along to them. They can hop those calls, and I'll teach along the way. That's kind of the role that I think now is probably best suited for me.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I think that's the more some people when they come into a police department, they have aspirations, right? Some people are very content with I'm going to be in patrol and I want to be a patrol officer, and that's a great career. Some people say, I feel like I want to give a little bit more. I feel like I want to, truly make change and be a part of that. But I think the opportunity for anyone in the department to bring forward a concept, an idea, a program, it's there. That's the culture that that I have really focused my attention on creating in a very learning environment, a very inquisitive environment, the asking the why, asking the who, what, when, where, how, why, all the very basic questions to, hopefully inspire the department to move forward and to progress. And so when I look back, even from, Mike mentioned he was promoted to sergeant in 2021, right? Okay. So in 4 years, he's risen from a sergeant to a commander. And that's a huge jump because I will tell you, I was a commander for almost 7 years before I became a chief. And I had been a lieutenant for a year or two and then a sergeant for 3. So what I tell these guys, especially very young supervisory staff, I've told a lot of them, you guys have to double time the information, the knowledge, the which is why the expectations will be very high. And that's something that first, I set for myself. I'm accountable to the members of the department. I'm accountable to the community. I'm accountable to my boss, Rick Colesville. I'm accountable to the council. When you understand the gravity of who you're accountable to and what you're really doing in your purpose, right? This is where you say, you know what? This is what I want to do with this time that I have here. It's
Right.
not, it's finite. At some point, I'm gone. At some point, Mike is gone. And so I think the people that embrace that sooner and say, Mike is, putting him in certain roles. Because part of what the command staff, our job, especially as the police chief, is you have to see the potential in people that they may not necessarily see in themselves,
Right.
right? Good or bad. And then everybody has potential until they don't. And you have to work at what is the thing that will provide you with purpose, because you have to be the best version of yourself, because the officers expect that. The community expects that. It is not about you. The minute you get promoted, and I tell all young supervisors, the this, which it is about you initially in your career, right? You want to get these great opportunities to get the experience. You know, if you're a detective, you know, I remember being a detective in the drug unit and I loved drug work. I loved it, being an undercover, doing this, doing that. But I was like, my world was like me, right? Me and my four partners at the time. You know, you don't have the responsibility, the weight of that responsibility of people counting on you, relying on you, and the criticism that will come from that. If you know, so always just trying to do the right thing, and you know, stating your purpose of the reason why you're there and what are you trying to accomplish. And when you say it and you finally say it out loud, and people are like, "Yeah, okay," you now put yourself in a position where people will either criticize or they'll say, "I really like that." And you can't be afraid to do that. And I think, you know, rising from a sergeant to we have some sergeants who are now lieutenants who've only been sergeants for a year and a half, and you know they will rise to the occasion. They will rise to the challenge because I think that their hearts are in the right place. They're going to learn a lot. They're going to mess up things. They're going to be, but if you embrace the culture of learning, if you embrace that inquisitive, you know, environment where you can make a mistake and people don't, you know, criticize right away because they don't know all the facets of why you made your decision.
Correct.
And that's the learning opportunity, right? So the
Well,
conversation,
you've always, and we've talked to this before, you know, but your visionary leadership style. You've always encouraged your department, your people to share with you
yes,
ideas to make sure they got it. And the higher you go up now, commander, it's like you're talking about me. It's not me, it's we. And what you've also embraced, and we talked about it again, is like the upside down pyramid. Typically, your pyramid is, you know, the chief, deputy chief. You got all your hierarchy, but in reality, you're at the way bottom, giving the resources to your officers to do their job. And you've been so exemplary of that, chief, and for real. And the way
thank
you've
you.
shared that with your department and Commander Martino, I think, is going to be definitely a example of that.
Yeah, I think it's important too just to share some of the, you know, the lessons of, you know, myself and Deputy Chief Schusler, who will be retiring here within less than a month, and I'm going to get him on the show. So he might not want to come on the show, but I'm going to get on the show. Adam is, and I've said it many times, when Adam leaves the Elgin Police Department, he's going to be a huge loss to the department and to the community. He is one of the people that I have the utmost respect for. Has been alongside of me in some very difficult things that you know, no one else in that department has really kind of been there through it and having to manage some stuff. And so those lessons of, you know, what Adam and I had, you know, it's important that we share those lessons with young supervisors and with the next generation of leaders, because quite often, and I grew up in you know, there was a culture at one point in the department where a lot of times some supervisors don't want to share their knowledge, because if I give to him what I know, it puts him now at this ability to compete with me, right, or at an advantage. And so, you know, I had supervisors, and I remember, you know, I went and I was getting my master's degree when I was, you know, I was still in the drug unit at the time, and this was, you know, I once a person told me, "Don't tell people that you're getting your master's degree." I'm like, "What?" And he said,
That's good.
"Because you will become competition to people." I said, "Well, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I don't agree with that, right? And I'm not going to." And I think that that kind of like, you know, I'm not going to do for you what no one else did for me. I don't adhere to that philosophy, right? When you are in the
That's
position to
ridiculous.
open doors for people, you open those doors gracefully and you say, "Come with me," right? And that doesn't mean now they have to be the right people, right?
Sure.
For the right reasons. But that's the responsibility and gravity of these positions, right? You open doors for people. And if you are in those positions and they can't for whatever reason, then you say, "Come along with me," right? And I'm going to give you everything freely without anything in return. And I hope that the purpose is to make it better for the community, right? The police department, when I go, when Adam goes, when Mike goes, the expectation that has been set in the community of what the Elgin Police Department is, that's not going away.
That goes back to the
It
we,
goes
not me thing.
exactly. So, Mike, talk a little bit about you know, your first 2 weeks as a commander. So let's talk about that. Anything that you didn't expect? Anything that you're like, oh, okay? Anything that, you know, what are you most excited for now that you're in this new position? You know, like
Yeah.
talk a little bit about, you know, the future and the hope for the future.
Yeah. So I don't know that it's anything that I didn't expect. mainly because I spent, the 3 years upstairs and I
Good
saw a lot.
progression.
Yeah, there's a lot of intricate details that I'm learning, obviously. But I always knew that the communication between the command staff is of the utmost importance. So, and I was involved in that as the PIO. So that, that doesn't change to me. That's nothing new to me. You know, the administrative responsibilities of the position. That's something that I fully expected. That again isn't anything new. So I expected it to be. It's all in, like it's an all in approach, and that's kind of and I knew that coming in. I wouldn't have put myself in this position or tried to grow into this position if I didn't want to do that. I enjoy that piece. I enjoy the teaching, and I will say, maximizing my time with the chief and other leaders in the department that have been here and have done it for a long time is the most important piece to me, so that I can make sure that I get that passed along to the other people underneath me.
And as
lieutenants
the
and
chief alluded,
sergeants.
keeping the secrets and don't sharing what you know. You could, and I learned this from big business. You can never advance yourself if you don't have somebody next to you, like as a sergeant. I know you were developing, I would think you were just by looking at your style, you were developing an officer that maybe showed a little bit special stuff.
Yeah.
So you start sharing different things with them. Because if you don't have someone so you could become lieutenant, you're stuck as the sergeant.
Yes.
So you share everything openly. And again, that goes back to being the visionary that the chief was at. Look, we're open book here.
Yeah.
It's not about us. It's about serving the community and our department.
Yeah, and like the chief said, it hasn't always been like that. It just
No.
hasn't. And I think you have to be confident in your decision making, confident in your abilities to have those people. My expectation is every single person that I supervise or that I deal with is better than me and will be better than me. My goal is to make them better than me, because ultimately that makes the department a better place to work. It makes the community a better place to live, and that's really what we're trying to do here. So I think when people get caught up in this this competitive mindset, I think it detracts from what we're really trying to do as a community-based organization. Really,
Competition has its place.
it
You know,
does.
when you're trying to learn a sport, even you want to, if you're playing tennis or golf, you want to be next to someone that's a little better than you.
Yeah.
So you want to try and achieve that
Yeah.
and be as good.
Yeah.
Get some tips.
Yeah,
But
and-
this is all one.
Yes.
This is not a game. This is a serious business where
Yes.
everybody needs to be working together.
Yeah, and I think moving towards the future and kind of looking forward to that, I think just kind of continuing that progression where that's relayed to the officers, and where officers are helping each other, and there's not this competitive mindset. Everybody wants to go somewhere in their career, and everybody has goals.
Who doesn't?
I understand that, but the goal, when you have that bigger view of what we're trying to do for the community, you want those officers, right, to understand that, like, the better you are, the better I am, the better we are as a group, right? And that's what we're trying to do here. So I think I still think there's some growth that needs to happen, right? We're always trying to get better. So to me, moving forward, that's my ultimate goal, is to have that trickle all the way down to the brand new officers who understand that, sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things when I meet with before I swear in the new officers, I meet them earlier in the day and basically tell them, like, I don't scare them too much. I tell them, though, here's what some expectations are. I'll see you in 5 hours. You can bow out gracefully now, no harm, no foul. But I'm very straightforward about, like, this is what this department is. And, people have worked very, very hard, people that came before you, and have worked very hard for the reputation of the department. We are not a perfect department because we are humans. No organization is perfect. And, and trying every day and really kind of evolving, the paradigms of what we think policing and a police department should be. I don't really run the police department like a police department, like a typical police department. It's more, it's a business. It's what is our brand? Who are our customers? Our customers are the community. How do we market ourselves? What are the things that we're like, how are we falling short? What are the things that we need to do better? And that's an everyday thing. I will tell you, every single day I walk into the department, and it does not matter what bad thing is happening, what good thing is happening. It's how today What are we going to do with the time today to make the community better and to make the department better? And a lot of times, and it's very difficult to, people have their perception or their beliefs. And if they're not happy with the police department or if they think the department is not doing enough, those are opportunities. Those are opportunities for conversations. And when you say, well, here's what's going on, here's, why we're doing what we're doing, here's what we're trying to accomplish. And as long as you have that open communication, that's where the magic happens. And I have said it many, many times. The people that say we love the Elgin Police Department, they are perfect, they can do no wrong. Yeah, we love you too. Those are great conversations because there's no, right? I truly, truly appreciate it. The other side, the people that say you guys can't even walk right, you can't even breathe right, you can't even look right. I'm not really down with that either, right? But in the middle, where it's that support and that I'm just no matter what, I'm always going to be supportive, and that no matter what, I'm always going to be critical. When those two come together in the middle, that's the magic, right? That's where you get
The sweet spot. That's where it
yes,
is.
that's where you get the push. That's where you get people who have, the people that are very, and this has happened many, many, many times throughout the past few years, whether we were talking about police reform, police task force, officer involved shootings, George Floyd area, the Safety Act. I would have many conversations with community members, people, and they're not happy with stuff. But in that conversation, if they're truly putting their guard down, and my guard is always down, like it's with the community. I don't care if you're gonna. I mean, I don't appreciate getting yelled at, but it's okay. Like that's just how people express themselves. But if you sit there with people and you really listen at what's bothering them, really listen, not listen to defend, listen to let me get my argument ready, right? And then you realize, yeah, you know what? And some of those earlier conversations when I first became the chief with some community members, I said it made me think. There's some stuff that we have to do better. There's a reason why people feel this way in the community. And this is not a feeling. This is like actual things that have happened. And my responsibility now is to leave it better for the future. So, so I think like as we move forward into Mike now being a commander and this next generation of commanders and command staffs, and there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to grow. And I truly appreciate the conversations with, even if I'm talking to an officer, a brand new officer, a brand new sergeant, someone that's only have a supervisory experience for a couple of years. Those are great conversations because I also learn. It keeps me in check, right? It keeps me like in this kind of like, this is the perspective of a person at this point in their career. Don't ever forget that, right? And so that, I truly appreciate it. It's not just, because yes, we have the experience and yes, we have the time, but when you embrace and listen to other people's viewpoints and perspectives, especially when they're willing to share, that's, in my opinion, one of the greatest things ever. So, all right, Mike, we have a couple minutes left here. Do you want to give any last words, messages? You guys will see Mike quite often, depending on what's going on, but I wanted to just have his debut as official commander to the community. Any last words?
No, I'll be out there tomorrow. So if you're coming out tomorrow, stop in, say hi. I'll see you out there tomorrow at the open house.
So how does that work? Your division, you're going to be like your post, so to speak, your office, or you're going to be roaming the whole place?
We're in the police department.
Oh,
So
yeah.
our whole first floor is all the different units will have things. We're opening up the second and the admin office. Is like a little Christmas kind of like we have like a bunch of I don't know little
They like
inflatables,
Okay.
a nice little Christmas
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
So we're gonna be around, and it's great. People stop in. So yeah, Mike will be there.
Yeah, we'll be around the whole department though. Like we won't really stick to whatever division is. Like I said, to me it's we're the leaders and the group of the whole department, right? And you want to go talk to everybody and be around everybody and see how everybody's doing. I think that's a really important piece. So
Sounds great.
Yeah.
We wish you the best of success.
for
Your
having me.
progression, I think, is awesome. I think you're well-rounded. I know you're going to do a good job. You didn't get selected and tapped on the shoulder because you were some slouch. So
appreciate it.
I think that's great. And
you.
I think it's a real good department. I can't say enough about your chief over here. I think she does an outstanding job because she listens. She has that big key word called empathy, and she thinks about others, and it's very important. So again, we want to congratulate you. We wish you
you.
the best. Don't forget tomorrow, between 10 and 12. That's right over at the Elgin Police Department. And we'll see you again next
Thank you.
week.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Everyone have a
Chief.
great
Have
weekend.
a great weekend.